All right. Welcome to the Way to a Great Marriage cast. I'm Tony. This is LaRonda.
Hello.
We've got Katie at our feet, and
And
Annabelle's around here
Annabelle,
somewhere.
yeah, she went somewhere.
And so we are going to allow LaRonda. We're going to turn it over to LaRonda, and she's going to sing or read one of Miss Omi's songs that she wrote years ago. Omi is LaRonda's mother, and so this is dedicated to her.
All right. The name of this song is Only One Way to Heaven. There's only one way to heaven. There's only one way to the King. He's standing there with his arms wide open. I can hear those heaven bells ring. He's calling you through the sweet Holy Spirit. Heed to the call. Don't turn him away. Receive the gift that he has given. He's calling you. Accept him today. The peace and joy of knowing the Savior is more than words can ever explain. If you feel that emptiness inside you, God can make you whole again. So there's only one way to heaven. There's only one way to the King. He's standing there with his arms wide open. I can just hear those heaven bells ring. Inspired by the Holy Spirit, written by Alma Shepherd. It's a short song, but a very pretty song.
She likes those heaven bells.
She does.
The one you read last night was about heaven.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same one. Look.
And it's not the prayer bells.
Prayer bells of heaven, oh how sweetly they ring. Sharing a message unto Jesus, our King. When you are burdened down with burdens and cares, ring on and on, for Christ will offer you're there.
Anyway. Oh, I didn't put in the title what we're doing tonight,
Oh, no.
did I? Okay. I just put down that this is episode 107.
107 episodes. Woohoo!
Trust and your family.
Trust and obey, for there's no other way.
I wonder if I can edit it while I'm talking.
To be happy with Jesus.
Okay.
But to trust and obey.
Trust and your family.
I know.
Not trust and obey.
I'm just singing songs I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because your family's not going to obey.
No. Absolutely. Well, sometimes.
Yeah. You're the only family that obeys.
Everybody else is rebellious.
And then still you don't listen to me.
I do so.
How many times have I told you to get those nuts for your Yukon?
100 times, and I keep forgetting. I hear you. I just keep forgetting it. I'm getting them in the morning.
Your Yukon is sitting out there. You pay taxes on it, and it won't work.
I've got to go get
for now 2 years.
Oh, 1 year, actually.
Anyway, well, we're coming up on 2 years. It was Christmas
of last year.
A year before last.
No, last year when Braden
had his. It's not as bad as I think.
No, it's only a year.
Okay, I'll stop worrying about it then. Manny, we'll wait another year.
No.
Many. The first thing I have highlighted here is many abused or neglected children are in similar situations. They are stuck with the picture of their abuse or neglectful parents in their quality world. And that's the reason that they often marry somebody just like their abusive dad. A woman will marry an alcoholic, abusive man just like her husband.
Yeah.
And because that's who she sees. That was the interesting thing when Braden came to live with us. He said, well, I saw all parents treated.
He did. He sure did.
Treated you the way that his mom treated him.
Yeah.
Because of the abuse or the neglect when they are young, they are too weak and frightened to do much but suffer. As they grow older and separate from the weak relationship they had with a parent, many of them are too distrustful of people to consider trying to find happiness in human relationships. They give up. They decide to become a recluse, maybe having a relationship every once in a while, to have something, but by and large, they give up. They now have no one. They become, we call them Spencers, right?
Yes.
There's men and women Spencers.
Yeah, they are.
Not even their parents in their quality world. but they want to feel good. We all want to feel good. So many of them pursue what it is available to them, the pleasures associated with violence and drugs. You know, that's why we see young men, especially young black men, turning to drugs and violence. Well, they say that the gangs are more of a family to them than their family because
Right.
the majority of them, it's astronomical. It's sad the number of men who have not stepped up in that community to raise their children.
I hate that.
And so, study after study has shown that prisons are filled with people who were abused and neglected as children. And I studied a little bit about this because in going down the rabbit hole of anti-authority disorder, which is what teenagers have. It starts off,
Yeah.
and then it becomes after they become a teenager, then it's antisocial, which doesn't mean they're a recluse. It means they it's still anti-authority. They don't want to follow the laws of the state. I have a little bit of that. I like to speed and get speeding tickets and get pulled over for not wearing my seatbelt and that sort of thing. So I'm aware of that. Okay, you don't have to point it out to me.
I wasn't going to.
I have an antisocial tendency. I'll admit that. But then it becomes a sociopath after that, where that they become callous and they don't really care who they hurt after they've done so much violence and so much illegal, and they've been in the court system for so long.
Yeah.
But when I went down that rabbit hole, I learned there was a study done by the Russians. Now, Romania, we most people know about it. Is that you can go into a hospital, a woman can in Romania have a baby and leave it there.
Yeah.
But the Romanians are real good. They allow us as Christians to go over there as missionaries and to rock and feed the babies in the nursery while that they're infants. Well, the
Yeah.
child needs that love and
touch.
that touch.
Yes.
And in old age, whenever you go in a nursing home, that's what they need the most. Is touch them, pat them on the back.
I always hold hands with mom
and touch their hands.
Yeah, I always.
They need that human. Everybody needs that human touch.
Yeah.
But so the Russians did an experiment. What would happen if we did not allow a baby to have love or touch or any sort of thing for the first 4 years of their life, because that's whenever most development happens. And so I ran down this rabbit hole because it said that was what was causing anti-authority, is that they didn't bond with the mother didn't give them the attention they needed whenever that they were a child. And the Russians discovered that only a third of them turned out to be criminals, or it affected the 2/3 of them were pretty much normal, or maybe the other way around. Maybe
I think so.
2/3 turned out as criminals, and 1/3 turned out normal.
Yes.
And you'll see that in families. Sometimes you'll see a criminal. A family. One of the first guys I had in my rehab, his brother was just normal. He went and had a job, other than he liked to have these fancy toys.
Yeah.
He spent all his money
That's not a criminal.
on pickup trucks and razors.
Yeah.
Or four-wheelers, but he and so he blamed it on his environment. But then I could show him, your brother turned out pretty natural.
Yeah.
And so you see that in families, and so that is because they have a choice. I came to the conclusion that they had a choice to allow a choice theory. They have a choice to allow that to affect them or not to affect them.
Right.
If they allow it to affect them, then they become a criminal and a drug addict. If they choose choice theory, allow it to not to affect them, then they will turn out natural.
Right.
And so that was what I've kind of learned over the years myself. about this and observing people who have been
Let's
come
sit her
from
down by you.
abusive.
She wants to sit by you. Get in there, sit down. There you go.
She won't hold her head up
No,
and read with me. See, read.
no, she won't.
Read for the good people. Huge numbers of people are not willing to settle for lies with no happiness. I skipped down a little bit to the next section that's highlighted. They are not willing to give up on people or turn their lives over to the search for pleasure without happiness. Many of these unhappy people want very much to find others to love, but because of the reality of their life situation, they are poor, old, uneducated, unattractive, workless, homeless, sick, or criminal. The list is long. They are unable to. There may be an answer to the uh, poignant question posed by the Beatles. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? They come from a world in which they are separated from their husbands, wives, children, teachers, and employers by this destructive psychology. And so, if hopefully you got that as I was reading along, that they have chosen basically to be alone and not to want people around them. The next section in this chapter is choice theory, families and rearing children. The vast majority, first section I have underlined, highlighted in this section, is the vast majority of families majority of family unhappiness is the result of well-intentioned parents trying to make children do what they don't want to do. And so, you have this trouble, is it builds a wall between the parent and the child, because the parent does not know how to get the child to do something, without becoming a tyrant or a dictator. Like if well, hopefully we'll get some examples here. The next thing I have highlighted, if they don't, we'll give you some. They are limited to controlling their own behavior. All they can give the other person, including their children, parents, and mates, is information. So, they are they have enough problems of their own not to be able to handle dealing with the child,
right,
or some or other members of the family. They don't want that extra heartache, that extra pain, that extra problem of dealing with somebody else's problems. And so the choice theory, child rearing axiom. This is the next section I've got highlighted. The choice theory, child rearing axiom is this: don't choose to do anything with a child whom to you want to grow up to be happy, successful, and close to you, that you believe will increase the distance between you. And, I've been accused, with Braden of, being trying to be his friend, but anybody that's been around me knows that I'm not that type of parent. I'm not trying to be his friend, but the Bible says, provoke not your children to wrath. And so you have to be careful not to push them away.
Right.
And not to isolate them, not to make them see you as the enemy, not to see you as, that's why you use discipline and not punishment. Discipline, the difference between discipline and punishment is discipline. You let them face the consequences of their own actions. And we'll talk about this. As I read this book, I came, I guess I could wait till the end of the chapter to talk about this, but one of the things that I came out of this book thinking about was, like Saturday night, it's hard to get Braden to go to bed. He's a night owl. I mean, at one point, whenever he was like 2 years old, his mother had him staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning. And that's just who he is. He likes to stay up late. That's what most children do. And so after the book, I came to realize, that I would say to him, Braden, it's getting to be about 11 o'clock. We got to get up at 8:30 in the morning for church. I still do this to this day,
Yeah.
even though he's 16.
Yeah.
I say, Braden, we've got to get up at 8:30 in the morning. It's your choice. I approach him about when I want him to go to bed, about 11 o'clock. To get up at maybe midnight if he's going to get up at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I say, we're going to get up at 8:30 in the morning. You can choose to go to bed now, or you can stay up and feel miserable tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's your choice. Maybe the first couple of times he had to face that choice. At 8:30, I come in and I turn the light on in his room, and I say, Braden, we got to go. And I leave the room. And then I will go wait a few minutes, go do something, come back, and I'll be like, Braden. I'll make sure he makes eye contact with me, that he's not, laying there pretending asleep the whole time. But he's woke up. I say, I need you to get dressed, and then I'll lay out his clothes. He had a choice. You had the choice of picking out your clothes, but I'm going to lay out these clothes, put them on,
and a choice of taking a shower.
And we've got to go. Well, the choice of taking a shower is the night before.
Yeah.
I tell him the night before. I say, if you want to. You can get up at 8 and in the morning, or you can get up at 8:30. You can take a shower the night before, or you can take one in the morning. And so I'm actually leaving. I give an extra 30 minutes though, because I know that he may change his mind and want to take a shower the next day, and it's going to take longer for me to get him out of bed than usual. So I would normally, when we go to church on Sunday morning, I get up at 9 to be there by 10. But I'm giving a little extra time, 30 minutes for him at 8:30. And so that's kind of what this is talking about, is you give them the choice. You have choices. Here's your choices. I'm going to inform you. That's like I said in the end of that last chapter, truth is being kind, is telling people the truth. Well, giving people the truth, letting them know what their choices are, is being kind to them, and so in giving your child the choices and letting them choose is how that you get them to do things, and then you're not the tyrants, you're not the dictator. Right. They don't hate you, and they don't. You've pushed them out the door, and they're never going to want to come see you again for the rest of their life. That's what's going to happen if you don't see that coming. Your wisdom did not pass through your household.
No.
Anyway, the next section I have highlighted is do not do anything with anyone if it seems to increase the distance between you. In other words, you shouldn't be doing things to drive people away from you. Unsatisfying as it may be, doing less may be the best thing to do. Here again, prevention, which means keeping a failing relationship going, may be much better than anything else you can do. And so, in other words, a lot of people will just will just stay in a relationship because it's the best that they can do. At least they have somebody in that case, and that's the nightmare of dating. And then the next thing you know, you're married to the person that you were just trying to get by day with. The next thing I have highlighted, the way I look at it, stress is very simple. It occurs when something in your life is not the way you want it to be. From my experience, it is most often attached to an unsatisfying relationship. If there is there anyone in particular who isn't doing what you would like him or her to do? Well, that's probably causing you stress that you can't control that person, isn't it? And then the next thing I have highlighted is just simply the problem is your relationship.
You knew that? Come about that honest.
The next section in this chapter is choice theory and child rearing. What I have highlighted here is choice theory is much more effective when it is used to prevent problems uh, than to solve problems.
Yeah.
If you look honestly at the lives of the people you know who have long-standing relationship problems at or at your own, you will see that few of us are able to come up with a good solution to any of these problems. In most instances, the problems drag out on and are never really solved. Eventually, we learn to live in unhappy marriages by expecting less and less from the relationship. The next thing I have highlighted is creativity is at the heart of any good relationship. Do things that are unexpected.
Yeah. Like go for a drive and look at the leaves. That's what I want to do.
Are they starting to change?
Yeah.
No, they are.
Yeah, they're really for me and then went over to Lancaster today.
Oh,
So
okay.
they were very pretty.
Oh, well, I like the spring on the drive to Lancaster. Well, if you take, if you're coming from Richmond on Old 52, there's an old farmhouse there that's abandoned, and the whole yard grows up in buttercups.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been by there before.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
There obviously was a little old lady there, and her buttercups have taken over the whole yard now.
It's beautiful.
You know,
Absolutely.
that would be an interesting idea. Just that way you wouldn't have to mow the yard.
Just plant buttercups.
Let it grow up in buttercups. Anyway,
make you happy.
But it's only just for a couple weeks.
Just a couple weeks.
The spring. But the next thing I have highlighted in this section is choice theory says strongly, do what you can to keep close to her. The relationships takes precedence over always being right.
True.
So would you rather be right or be wrong? Would you rather be right and not have her?
Yeah, right.
Something like that. What is that old cliche that they say? Anyway, the next section I have highlighted is going. We'll use her as a book stamp.
She's like, oh
no. Going over past successes, however, is an excellent idea. It takes a long time before any of us get tired of hearing what we have done a good job. So
I always tell you when you do a good job, don't I? Yes, I always do.
The next sentence I have highlighted is the basis of choice theory relationship is to establish trust. By getting in somebody's quality world, then you establish trust with them. Then the next sentence I have underlined in this paragraph is this does not mean you support what you disagree with.
Now, we talked about that tonight, didn't we? Not supporting what you don't agree with.
Okay.
In Uncle Cecil's office.
The next sentence I have highlighted is the admission that mistakes are possible builds rebuilds trust. And then the next thing I have highlighted is my job, if either of us is dissatisfied with what you choose to do, is to get together and help you to figure out a better way. There is almost always a better way.
Yep.
You just have to learn to think outside the box. And sometimes it helps to get a counselor to do that. Sometimes you can go on to here, hopefully we're giving you better ideas.
I hope so.
Marriage Today or Naked Podcast, they give you better ideas. The next section in this chapter is dealing with abused children and adults who were abused as children. Oh, okay, I do have something highlighted here. I probably didn't have anything highlighted.
Yeah, I figured. Like you did that one section.
Yeah, I know everything about this.
Yeah.
What I have highlighted here, wounds. Even severe psychological wounds can heal, but only through experiencing love and gaining the trust that with effort on their part, this love can be sustained. Like a girl who's is raped as a child, she needs to come into a family where that the male gives her agape love. We're not expecting anything in return, and then she can see that there are men out there that will love somebody and not want anything from them.
That's good.
The,
Yeah.
remember, it's Eros that expects something in return. I'll love you if you give me this.
Right.
You got to give first.
Yep, that's exactly right.
The next thing I have highlighted is an abused person because of an unhappy past may be less capable, but not incapable of dealing with the president, with the president, with the present.
That too.
That explains Killamilla.
Yeah, exactly.
The past, be it abuse, neglect, or rejection, is not the problem. His or her present problem is no different from anyone's present problem. All present problems are relationship problems. We all need a satisfying present relationship with someone we can trust. And so, then the next thing that we have highlighted in this section is actually there's more highlighted in this one than the last one.
I was surprised.
Yep. I'll use the word choosing a lot because I believe that we choose what we do and that you have to learn to make better choices if you want to be happy. So your unhappiness is a result of your choices. If you it's one of the things that we've talked about is that J. Vernon McGee talked about, I think, in last night's lesson was, sin makes you unhappy.
Right.
It makes you sad, especially if you're a Christian, so that's because of your choices that you made. Your happiness, if you're not happy, it's because of the choices you have made.
Right.
Now you can make choices to get out of that unhappiness. Just you've got to be careful and make the right choices.
That's right.
And seek out wisdom. And so the next thing that I have highlighted, he told me that a woman where he works lives near him and asked him to take her home after work. She gets a ride to work, but she needs a ride home. I blew my top and accused him of wanting to go to bed with her. It was off the wall. She's almost old enough to be his mother, but when I blew, I was serious. But it can be anything. All of a sudden, I don't like his beard. I hate that tattoo on his arm. You didn't call exactly when he said he would. This goes on more and more. It all ends with me accusing him of not loving me. There are toxic, high conflict personality disorder. I've told you guys about the book Walking on Eggshells that you can read to learn how to deal with people, communicate with people like that. But they are triggered at almost anything, and you don't know what it is.
Right.
One time, I shaved my face, and the person freaked out. My wife at the time said that I looked like the person who raped her whenever she was a child.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, well, then why in the world did you marry me?
You're right.
But
right.
And so every time, and so that was a trigger for her, for me, just shaving my face. I didn't think anything about shaving my beard.
Yeah, me and Braden was like, wow, when you shave.
Yeah, it's bad enough.
He stayed in the restroom for about an hour, and we started worrying about him. He walked out. He had a full beard like he's got right now. He walked out completely clean. We were like, "Who are you?"
Well, we were in Clearwater, Florida. We were going to go out
on the beach.
On the beach and get a suntan, and it was like my beard shading my face.
He just came out clean shaven.
I need to get a suntan on my face too.
That was fun.
Anyway, the next section I have highlighted is I was pretty good in the morning, But as I left for work, I am on the early shift this quarter. I gave him a parting uh, a parting shot. I told him if he ever gets up out of bed like that again, we're through. I didn't need to do that.
How did he get out of bed?
I don't know.
I don't know what made her so mad.
She, you don't understand these triggers. It could be anything.
It could be like me picking up this pen.
Right. It could be fixing soup beans to take to the to game night at church. That's what got me kicked out of the house.
I thought it was cornbread on the stove.
No, it was well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, no, I was mixing up cornbread. Yeah. That's right, to go with the soup beans that I was doing at game night, and that got me divorced. And nobody can believe that, But it's just a trigger, we're through. That was her first response. I didn't need to do that. I'm sorry. As soon as I said it, there's something wrong with me. It's not him. The next thing I have highlighted is missing. What's missing is obvious. She doesn't trust him, and I guess she hasn't trusted any of them, and that's the case. Whatever what happened to them as a child, the rape or the beating. You see this a lot with women who've been through their spouses cheating on them. They don't. I'm never going to trust a man again, and they don't. And
or you can choose to trust.
Right. Or I can live in misery the rest of my life and never. You cannot have love without making yourself vulnerable. Is the problem?
Yeah.
If you want to be loved and you need love in this life, the only way you're going to get love is if you make yourself vulnerable. You keep trying, and you just work on your picker. And we tried to help you with that here too. What does the word trust mean to you? I've got this underlined and dots on either side. That's a question I think for the counselor to ask the clients. What does trust look like for you? And and I have trust issues. I tell LaRonda all the time that I don't trust her. I don't.
And I've never done nothing to keep him from it.
She's never done anything.
Not one time.
Like that. But my past experience makes it hard for me to trust women. It made it hard for me to trust men. Yeah. I mean, I trust women if I'm not in a relationship with them. But I because I was raped by a man, I had trouble trusting men until I went to Fort St. River and had that men's group. And then I was able to, and I started working on my trusting men, and then
How about trusting?
So then you get to the point where you don't trust anybody, and then you're alone. And
I could have been that way, but I didn't choose to do that. I always trust you until you let me down.
Right.
And then.
What is it saying?
Fool me once.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
shame on me. Fool me 3 times. Out the door.
That's what it will be.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, for me.
I don't think there's a 3.
There's not. For me, I could have not trusted due to my circumstances. I could have got mad and not trusted men again or anything, but it's your choice. Yeah, this is choice, right?
Choice theory, yeah.
Choice theory. So
you're making the right choices.
It's your choice,
and the choice is to trust the right people. The choice is to realize there are people out there who have your best interest at heart.
Like me and you.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that I learned to look for with I asked you if you had a piano in your living room. and
And I had.
and you gave it to a church,
I gave
which
it
is
to a
probably a
church.
better answer, I guess. But
Well, I
and
did.
then
I did
you
have
are
it
the
more
only
than that.
person that's ever complimented me on my singing.
Oh yes, he sings so nice.
And so the instead of you encouraged me to do this. The Waycast was your encouragement,
Mm-hmm.
and Braden's,
Yeah.
to do do this.
Yes.
And that's what I tell. I tell people, the wives of alcoholics. I said he is as good a man as you make him. Because you're able to make somebody a good man by encouraging them to do good and healthy things.
Yes.
This person I told that to wasn't allowing this person to go to their meetings. But encourage them to go every meeting every
Absolutely.
night of the week. Let
Every
alone
night.
trying to hinder them from going one night a week to a
Right.
meeting. I mean, that's.
I don't understand that.
But they need to go to one every night.
Every night.
So you were only as good. You encouraged me to go every night of the week to a meeting.
Yep.
That, and you got as much out of the meetings as I did.
I did.
Or more.
Or more.
And so the next thing that I have highlighted is the past doesn't intrude on the present unless we choose to hold on to it.
That's right.
So.
I agree 100%.
So it doesn't affect us. What we're talking about is, I give these examples, but it doesn't. I don't, think of her as these other people unless I choose to do that. And sometimes that happens. I mean, she will block me, and want a hug, and that triggers me. She's wanting a hug.
I'm a hugger.
But to me, where I've been abused by somebody doing that in the past, that's a trigger for me.
And for me, it's just like
and,
not knowing that.
Right.
Like now, if he comes by, I go sideways and go up against the wall.
Right.
Just I'll be silly, but.
Well, I'm like, the hallway is wide enough for both of us.
Yeah, I'm like. I am a hugger, though. I can't help it.
But anyway, it's just, it's hard, but, I have to, I'm choosing to allow that to affect me. That's the reason I wanted to do this book again, because I needed to review it for myself.
It's a good book.
And so, it has a lot of good stuff in it that helped me the first time around, and now I need to get back to that place where it was. And so the next highlighted section I have is more and more I'm introducing choice and choose and choice. They are very powerful words that help us all to understand that no matter what happens in the past, we can still make a better choice today. The next thing I have highlighted is, and we're going way over on our time. But
well, you got just the one more.
Yeah, I've just got a few more pages here. That was easy, but she wanted more. She wanted to trust him enough so she could love him without all the testing and game playing. They don't realize they're doing it, okay? Love was her problem, and I was getting close. I didn't say anything. I just waited. And the next thing I have highlighted, and it has a couple of, I don't know if somebody else read this and put a couple of bubbles on either side.
Oh, I see that.
But it's over. This is the person talking. It's over. If you keep thinking about it, you're effing yourself up. You've met a guy. Be careful, but give him a chance. You've had your head screwed on backwards for 15 years. It's enough. And so basically, I guess that's give somebody a chance. Just don't rush in. You can. The good thing is being careful, but you don't have to be careful for the rest of the relationship.
Right.
You gotta once that you have realized that they're good, you can go with it. The next thing that I have highlighted is she can choose to stop treating all men as if they are potentially abusive. And that's I had that trouble. I couldn't get close to men because I thought all they wanted was sex, and you've heard women say that, and I can relate to that. And but it's not true. Not all men want to have sex with you. Many clients or just want you for sex. Many clients want to, if you're a woman.
Yeah.
Many clients want to stay in the past. They are afraid to deal with the present problem and are happy to escape into the past to find someone to blame for their present unhappiness. It is the job of the therapist to ferret out this present problem, not to go into the safe past and say safe. I say safe because clients use the past to avoid facing what is really happening in their lives now. Then the next thing I have highlighted is to blame is much easier than to choose to change. And so it's easy to blame the other person, but than to choose to change.
I've seen that happen a lot. Somebody blaming somebody for your actions.
And then the last thing I have highlighted in this chapter is if each party in the unhappy relationship can learn choice theory, stop blaming the others in the relationship. I call it playing the blame game. Get into the solving circle and and subordinate his or her own demands to the needs of the relationship. They all could get along much better than they do now. And so that's the end of chapter 9. Chapter 10 is schooling, education, and quality schools.
Oh,
So
wow.
he talks about how that he wrote this to help with educating children, and even goes over to jails, which is where he kind of loses me. It's probably where I stopped reading.
Probably.
Because he thinks that we should try to get into the quality world of the inmate, and by doing that, then we can help that person to choose to do right rather than choosing to do wrong, and rather than punishing them, because that is punishment when you send somebody to jail.
Absolutely. They did something they're being punished for.
It can be discipline because they're facing the consequences of their action, but whenever you put somebody in jail, that is actual punishment.
Yes.
And rather than and that's, but he does have a point. That's the sad thing, is me and you learned there is not really a desire to rehabilitate people who are in jails and prisons. There is no effort on anybody's part to actually do that. I mean, they don't take classes. They just sit there. That's one of the things I was thinking about. Paul went to sleep when he was in jail. Well, I was thinking somebody was there's a lot of comments about it, but that's what you do in jail. Obviously Paul had been in jail a lot.
Yeah.
Or Peter. It wasn't Paul, it was Peter.
Peter.
And so Peter had probably been in jail a lot, and so and that's what people do in jail. They sleep away their time. They don't do anything. And so,
when I went into the women's jail cells, there would be like 3 of them that would just pull the covers up over their head and just lay there for an hour and a half while I was reading scripture or whatever, and they're just trying to bide their time.
They probably were asleep.
Well, they wouldn't. They'd peep out every once in a while,
Oh, they would?
Yeah.
They probably woke them up.
Probably.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while, I'd wake them up. I'd sing, and sometimes they'd peep their head out for that,
Okay, so what do we do?
We like, thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe,
Right.
to
Share.
Well, you
comment,
always tell
ask questions.
the subscribe. You always tell them to go to
Rumble.
Who's Ready to Rumble? Woo!
And then hit the bell down below so
Ding,
you can
ding, ding.
be notified when we come on again.
Tony did that different that time. The truth, I was like, huh?
And you guys have heard it so many times
Oh, they love it though. They love it.
that we'll just skip the proclivities tonight. And we will say,
until we meet again. Adios. Au revoir. I'll be the same till then. And always, always, sweet sorrow.
Sweet sorrow to part.
You know you'll always remain in my heart.
Good night, sweet
Right,
and
the best life.
Here's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true. And now till we meet again.
Adios, au revoir,
Auf Wiedersehen.
good night.
We love you.
and don't ever forget, you are truly loved. With that, we say good night.
Friends, there you have our show. Hit songs and fashion.